Hey guys, welcome to another video of me flying around. This is going to be a super cool one because it's my first ever night flight. It's actually only like 5:45, but that is dark enough to be night flight in Atlanta in the middle of November. So here we go. At this point, we're sitting kind of holding short of runway 21 right, which is the runway we normally take off from. In fact, almost always. I've taken off from the longer one once. But never 21 left. So yeah, here's the route where we are. So we're like hanging out where that little circle guy is, on Golf, holding short of 21 right, and actually they clear us to take off on 21 left. So we're gonna cross over this runway, and then take off from the other one. And that audio,
691 Juliet PC tax, cross 21 right is taxiway Golf.
1 right at Golf, 19 Juliet.
Let's do Golf Victor, where you parking tonight?
oh, whoops. Didn't need to hear that guy's parking instructions. But so that was the audio. Normally I was expecting them to say 21 right, clear for takeoff, and instead they clear us to cross 21 right and cross 21 right and take off. I guess they said hold short of 21 left. So there's a little zone in the middle that you'll see in a sec. So they said that we are cleared to cross. You can still see I'm like checking both ways because it's an active runway. Make sure that obviously I trust tower, but always look both ways anyway. So you can see that we're about to cross these lines, and that means we're off of 21 right, and then there's more lines in front of me. That's the entrance to 21 left. And because he already called clear, actually no, I didn't play that part, but he did tell us that we're cleared for takeoff. So
691 Juliet PC tax, cross 21 right is taxiway Golf.
1 right at Golf, 19 Juliet.
So that was the clearance to cross, and then he says
01 on a Juliet right turn, northwest departure approved, 21 left at Golf, you're clear for takeoff.
21 left at Golf, clear for takeoff. For some reason, my audio didn't come back for that readback. And then one interesting thing to note, he said right turn to the north approved.
01 on a Juliet right turn, northwest departure approved, 21 left at Golf, you're clear for takeoff.
And I've never taken off from 21 left. And because we have these parallel runways, basically, if I turn right off of 21 right, I'm literally gonna cross right in front of the other one. Sorry, if I'm on 21 left, if I take a right off of 21 left, I'm gonna cross right in front of the departure path for the other runway. And that would be, I was surprised, and so I wanted to like double check because this is my first time flying that route. Like double check I'm allowed to turn right and kind of cut off the traffic leaving from the other runway. And so I actually I mentioned that, and my instructor made a call to confirm that.
And Tower 19 Juliet, just confirming right turn out to the north.
19 Juliet, affirmative right turn.
So we're all good. And look at that sunset. Isn't that killer? That's the Midtown Atlanta skyline off in the distance. So again, first time I've ever had these views in person. The camera's doing a pretty good job, but doesn't quite do it justice. So we typically climb to about 1,700 feet, which is 700 feet above the ground. Piper Cherokee is like almost exactly 1,000. It's like 998 feet above sea level. So we're turning right. That's Buckhead, right off our nose. And then eventually we get to the perimeter mall, kind of perimeter area. So this was the takeoff. I think I have a couple other things. Hang on. Like wrote all this down so you wouldn't have to watch boring stuff. Yeah, so at this point there's one other call.
1 on a Juliet, please.
So that is the call that they make right before we leave the Delta airspace. In this case, it actually came a good bit before, but it's just the tower saying frequency change approved, meaning that we don't have to listen to them. We can switch to a different radio frequency if we want. Although for us, we always fly around Atlanta, and so we're always listening to the tower, even if we technically don't have to be. Because sometimes they'll call in and say, hey, there's, if you're on here, there's traffic ahead, look out, or give other advisories like that. So it's good for us to be listening in. But it sounded like this.
Copy that 19 Juliet.
1 on a Juliet, please.
Just change approved, 19 Juliet, thanks.
And that's it. So now we're free and clear. So you can see, you can see that's the perimeter mall area. just off our nose to the left. You can see some of the red from like the State Farm buildings. And I had my phone out, but like, don't worry, I wasn't flying and texting. At that point, Alec was just like, hey, if you want to take some pictures, you can, because the sun sets off to the left in the video. And you also may have heard a couple clicking sounds. Let me see if I can find those. Crank up our volume on the audio. So basically, yeah, we're talking about like, oh, this is a cool sunset, and he's like, yeah, you want to take some pictures? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take some pictures, and hand over comms to him and listen. If you hear those clicks, those 3 clicks are the flaps. We've been practicing slow flight, which is basically we're going like 50 knots, which is like, I don't know, 55 miles an hour, which is really slow for flying. So I think you can see, if you zoom in, you can see that my airspeed is, my airspeed's like 55 knots, 56 knots right now. And so he was putting in the flaps so that we could get super duper slow and get some cool footage and cool pictures of the perimeter mall area. And so the last cool thing is, the last cool thing that I recorded is right around here. Still really pretty. Everything's fine. Instructor and I are just kind of chatting. We're talking about certain procedures, and then you can actually turn on the audio. You hear the RPMs drop, and all of a sudden we're facing the ground. I'm going to replay that again with the audio up. So we're at the point in my training where he'll just like cut the engine and be like, yep, the engine just failed, what do you do? So the first time that happened was a little unnerving because I hadn't like studied all of the emergency procedures. But and okay, disclaimer, I'm still a student, so like if I say something, don't take my word for it and go fly a plane and be like, this guy on the internet said this is what you do. But so far what I've been taught, there's kind of an A, B, C, D, E, F way you can memorize what to do. So the first thing, A, is airspeed. The glide speed for these Cherokees is like 76 knots. So you typically want to get to that as soon as you can. That's the most efficient speed for you to be going from like a drag curve standpoint. The B is to start looking for the best place to land. C is there's a checklist of carb heat, fuel pump, mixture, and then a couple other things with the fuel tank and the ignition system to get ready. Oh, looks like that was the end of the video. Whoops. Okay, interesting. I guess that's the end of the video. I'll just like keep it playing anyway because this is a pretty sunset. So anyway, that was this is just the simulated emergency practice stuff that we do. So at this point, we decided that because it was nighttime and it's hard to find a golf course to land on at night, we would probably aim for 400. And you can't see it in the video, but 400 was like pretty slammed because it's rush hour. But still, we decided that would probably be best, and that there's a good chance that we can find an empty place or like be on the shoulder or do something on 400. So fortunately, we didn't actually have an engine failure, and we can just put the engine throttle back up when we needed it. So that was just cool, just a like first experience of really find it again. Like you can see you can hear the RPMs drop, and you can see the nose just like, because that's what happens when you don't have any thrust. So anyway, I think this is probably it for this video, although I do have more footage from this flight of me landing. I got to land on that super long runway too, which was awesome, and it's so pretty at night, so I'm going to probably edit that one like right now, so it may be up on the channel by the time you're watching this. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.